As usual, we are working towards a happy and successful marriage. And today, before I invite you to subscribe, of course, I want to talk about the 4 habits of successful couples. You are there, you are a couple, you have been married 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years. If you purpose to cultivate these 4 habits, I want to guarantee you that your marriage will work. And I don't want to start on them without inviting you to first subscribe and share this video, and invite your friend to this channel, because you need them to succeed as well. Man, I am succeeding, and these are some of the habits that I want to share with you. Number 1, learn to solve problems as they arise. Now, the challenge that most couples face today is problem shelving. Hey, when you are a couple that shelves problems, you have this problem, you keep it, you don't talk about it, you don't solve it. You have another problem, you keep it, you don't talk about it, you don't solve it. You have another one. In other words, you have problems that have been piling for now 5 years. Do you know what will rise? What will come out of that is what we call a blast. One day you are going to fall into a simple conflict, and you will have to bring all that mess that you have had all these years. So I want to encourage you, learn to solve a problem as it arises. If you had a simple disagreement over your parents, solve it. If you had a simple disagreement over money issues, solve it and let go. Once you solve a problem, let it go. And therefore this calls couples to be problem solvers. Now, let me speak to men. Men who are married, listen to me. Real men do not run away from problems. Real men have been created by God with an ability to become problem solvers. If you are a man who runs away from your problems, you have not really understood on how to operate maximally in your manhood. Men are problem solvers. So I want to invite you, number 1, to be a person who solves problems. When you become problem solvers, when you master the habit of solving problems, a problem as it arises, then you avoid that piling up of issues that will always reoccur in the future when you have simple disagreements. So number 1, learn to solve problems as they arise. So did you have a problem last night? Sit somewhere and solve it. Number 2, give your spouse time. This is very important. Give your spouse time. Now, some of us are so busy. We have a lot of work. We are busy from Monday to Monday. But it's very, very important that you spare time. And I want you to know there is nothing like free time. Time is created. In other words, you must create time for your spouse. Among your busy schedules, if you are working from afar, you have to make sure you spare some time where you spend time with your spouse. And actually, I want to emphasize this should be away from children. Now, some of you I've been working all the week, but now I want to go home and see my family. Yes, you have come to see your family, that is your wife, your children, and the people that you stay with. But that's not a specific time for your spouse. Your spouse needs a special time where the two of you can sit and look at where you're going. I mean, there are promises that you have made. There are plans that you have made. You need to review them as a couple and define your way forward. In other words, you need to sit and encourage one another. Sit and make a reassurance of your commitments to one another. It's very important that you spare time for your spouse. Now, most of you will actually tell me that those who have operated businesses and they have succeeded, those people will give their businesses time. They will give it enough time to supervise, enough time to shop, enough time to count the stock, enough time to make sure the business is making profits, talk to the suppliers, and do all that kind of stuff. And that is what is making your business successful. So what do you think? Your marriage needs an attention. It needs a special attention. If you give your business a special attention for it to grow, you need to give your marriage and you need to give your spouse a special attention if it is become successful and yield the float and build you as well. So number 2, make sure you give your spouse time. Number 3, invest in your marriage. Now, investment in every area of life is very important. Number one, as a couple, sit and decide on how you're going to invest in your relationship. Because anything that lacks investment will always never grow. It will never take you anywhere. Investment. Attend marriage conferences. The other day I had an opportunity to attend a marriage conference with my wife. This conference was organized by Uganda Bible Society. There are many marriage conferences out there that you can learn a lot. You learn from other couples. Man, those conferences are refresher courses where you go and refresh yourselves about your marriage, about your relationship. In other words, investment is very important. Buy a book and read it together. Today, libraries are so many bookshops. They are very important books that you can read and get a lot of information. That is an investment. Investment in knowledge is very, very important. For us who are Bible readers, the Bible tells us that my people, in Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, the Bible says that my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. That's God himself saying, when his people are ignorant, then they cannot make it in their future. In other words, they get destroyed. So don't just allow ignorance to take over and destroy your marriage. Please seek more knowledge. Invest in reading books. Attend a movie together. In other words, watch a movie together. That's an investment that you need to make as a couple. So please, whatever investment you can make, I want to encourage you, go ahead and invest in your marriage, because for it to become successful, you will have to do that investment. And number 4, which is the last one, is work to bring the best out of your spouse. Work to bring the best out of your spouse. Now, this is what I want you to know if you're married, and actually if those who are about to get married, this is what I want you to know, that God gave you a spouse who is like a raw material, and you are supposed to process that raw material and get a finished product out of her. In other words, you're supposed to be working to make sure your spouse becomes better than you brought him at home, better than they joined you. Work to add value to your spouse. Very important. So in my marriage, I'm working to make sure my wife becomes better. When the father sees her, I want him to see someone whose life has improved, someone whose life has changed, someone who has become more beautiful, someone who has become more educated, someone who has become, who has gained more confidence, someone who has become a better person. So work to make your life, or your wife, your spouse, a better person. And this, of course, has to do with identification of their gifts. Men, one of your leadership positions as husbands is make sure you identify the gifts of your spouse and you develop them. Very, very important. Develop the gifts of your spouse. Help them become better communicators. Help them to become readers, to become book writers. Come on, there is a lot that you can add to your spouse and they become better people. Improve their cooking skills. In other words, if you brought in your wife and she has problems with cooking, don't just complain about it. Do something about it. Teach her to cook better meals than she came in. And this is to our spouses, our wives. Whenever your husband wants to teach you something to make you better, don't just hang on to what you know, the traditional or local person. I pray that God will lead you to a spouse who will really work to make you a better person. So there are 4 habits of successful couples. Number 1, solve problems as they come. Avoid piling up problems. Number 2, give your spouse time. Those who don't give time to anything, they grow nothing. Number 3, invest in your marriage. Attend marriage conferences, buy books, read them together, watch movies that are informative together. In other words, invest in your marriage. And lastly, want to bring the best out of your spouse. Again, marriage is beautiful. There's one brother of mine who normally says that marriage is easy, but ignorance is hard. Again, subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. I love you.